The city hummed below the high-rise windows, a blur of ambition, traffic, and tightly wound schedules. Inside the 37th floor office, Brian Tate sat behind a sleek glass desk, staring at quarterly numbers that refused to budge. At 27, Brian was bright, driven, and on track to become a junior partner at the marketing firm. But lately, something inside him had shifted. Despite his promotions and rising paycheck, he felt like a man stuck in a room without a door, boxed in by invisible limits. He rubbed his temples and muttered under his breath, "Maybe I've hit my ceiling." From the corner of the office, a chuckle broke the silence. "You're too young to be building ceilings in your mind." Startled, Brian looked up to see Mr. Lanning, the firm's retired founder, standing with a cane in one hand and a paper bag lunch in the other. The older man often came by to visit, though most of the staff had no idea why. "Mr. Lanning," Brian said, half standing, "I didn't hear you come in." "Habit of the old," Lanning said with a grin. "We sneak up on you." He sat across from Brian without waiting for an invitation and placed his bag on the desk. "You looked like a man caught in a small room. Thought I'd open a window." Brian offered a tired smile. "Just working through some numbers. Nothing seems to be growing. Everything's stagnant." Lanning nodded. "Funny thing about growth, it never starts on a spreadsheet, always starts up here." He tapped the side of his temple. Brian leaned back. "I used to think big. I had all these dreams when I started, but now I've got real responsibilities, targets, constraints." Lanning opened his lunch, a turkey sandwich and an apple, and took a bite. He chewed slowly before answering. "Years ago, when I was younger than you, I worked out of a broom closet in a shared office. I had no clients, no contacts, just big ideas and borrowed suits." "And yet you built this place from scratch," Brian said. "That's what everyone says." "No," Lanning corrected. "I built this place from thinking big, then acting on it." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a dog-eared paperback. Its cover was creased and faded, but the title was still visible, The Magic of Thinking Big. "Changed my life," Lanning said. "Taught me that the size of your success is determined by the size of your belief, not your background, not your bank account." He slid the book across the desk. Brian picked it up, turning it over. "I've heard of this. Most people have, but they don't apply it. They think it's just motivational fluff. But the real magic? It's practical. It's discipline. It's a way of seeing." Brian raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Lanning pointed at the skyline. "You see those towers? Every one of them started in someone's mind, as an idea far bigger than their current reality. People laughed, said it couldn't be done, but someone believed otherwise." He leaned in. "And that's what you've forgotten. You've let the small thinkers around you convince you to play safe. But small thinking is like a slow poison. It makes you settle for less before you've even tried for more." Brian was quiet. A part of him resisted the idea, the adult part that clung to caution and reason. But another part, buried deep, remembered the kid who once sketched logos for his own dream company in the back of math class. "You said thinking big is practical," Brian said. "How?" Lanning smiled. "Start with this. Ask better questions. Don't ask, 'Can I make this happen?' Ask, 'How big can I make this if nothing stopped me?' Don't say, 'I hope I get the promotion.' Say, 'I'm preparing to own the whole department.'" He took another bite of his sandwich. "Thinking big doesn't mean fantasy," he added. "It means building bigger mental frames. If your thoughts are cramped, your actions will be too. And if your actions are small, your results will be microscopic." Brian looked down at the book again. "So belief really is the foundation?" "Belief is the ignition switch. When you believe you can do big things, your brain starts finding the how. But when you doubt, your brain shuts down. You start collecting excuses instead of strategies." He chuckled. "I remember when I first pitched this firm to a group of investors. They all laughed, said I was nuts, but I believed in the need, and I believed in me. That belief made me work smarter, harder, and longer. Magic? Number just thinking bigger than my problems." Brian nodded slowly. "So, where do I start?" "Start by reconditioning your language," Lanning said. "Big thinkers use hopeful, strong, forward-moving words. Stop saying, 'I'm just trying to keep up,' or 'maybe one day.' Say, 'I'm building something great, even if it's still on paper.'" He pulled out a napkin and scribbled 4 words. Vision, belief, action, growth. That's the pattern. Dream it big. Believe it's possible. Act on it. And across the city, a light flicked on in a young mind, ready to outgrow its limitations. As the intern left the office clutching the book, Brian returned to his desk, gazing out the window where the skyline stretched far beyond the limits he once believed existed. He thought of Mr. Lanning, of the lunch, the napkin, and the book that had reshaped his trajectory. It wasn't just the magic of thinking big, it was the magic of believing big, of acting big, of becoming big enough in mind and spirit to handle the life you truly desired. He opened his drawer and pulled out the napkin he'd kept all these years. Vision, belief, action, growth. 4 simple words, a life philosophy. He turned it over and added a 5th, give back. Because thinking big, he now understood, wasn't about personal gain. It was about lifting others with the power of belief. The bigger you think, the more people you can help grow. He smiled, folded the napkin again, and tucked it into his journal. It was time to schedule another lunch with a rising young talent, and pass the torch, one bold thought at a time. The napkin sat quietly in his hands, 6 words now etched into its creases, each one a marker of a journey that had started in uncertainty and grown into impact. Vision, belief, action, growth, give back, legacy. Brian thought about how fragile it all had once felt. Years ago, he'd questioned if he was even meant for leadership. Now, he found himself building leaders. That night, as he walked home through the city, the streets buzzed with movement and momentum. He passed a bus stop and caught a glimpse of a young man sketching in a worn notebook, his eyes fixed on something only he could see. Brian smiled. He recognized that look. He had worn it once too. He reached into his briefcase and pulled out another copy of The Magic of Thinking Big. He always kept a few extras. With a gentle tap on the young man's shoulder, he held it out. I think you'll like this. The young man blinked in surprise, then took the book. Thanks. Just keep thinking bigger than your circumstances, Brian said, already stepping away. He didn't need to stay and explain. The spark had been passed. As he turned the corner, the city stretched out before him, not as a maze of challenges, but as a canvas of potential. He wasn't just building a company anymore. He was building a world where people believed in something bigger, in themselves, in each other, and in the future they could create together. And that, he realized, was the real magic.